The grand and majestic Mount Kilimanjaro dwarfs all below it in its splendid grace. It watches unassumingly as activity swells on in the nearby towns. The imposing mountain also standing passive as this herd of giants lumbers around, devouring their early morning breakfast in this, their natural realm. This is one of the country's most stunning views that draws in hundreds of enchanted visitors. But the elephants that patrol this ecosystem once enjoyed a vast kingdom. Now, they are trapped in fragmented ecological islands. Humans have been impinging on their natural habitats as their population increases. And now conservationists say another large farm is blocking their rite of passage. The Kili Avo farm, a sprawling 180-acre piece of land off the main Emali-Kimana road.
The farm is sitting on a wildlife corridor and that connects Amboseli National Park and Kimana Wildlife Conservancy.
Daniel Olesambu, a conservationist with the Big Life Foundation, a non-profit conservation organization, has been one of the farm's biggest opponents.
Between the mountain and the springs is a semi-arid area. There is no river, there is no other water sources except people trying to drill the boreholes. So if we drill boreholes upstream, you're going to affect the natural sources here.
But it's not just the altered landscape of the area's underground wealth that concerns him, but the fate of the elephants that patrol this ecosystem.
See the elephant, then the tree, and then there's a small line that is Kili Avo, directly affecting the passage of elephant from Amboseli to the sanctuary.
For many people visiting the Kimana sanctuary, this is the main attraction point. This herd of elephants moving from one point to another, using the crossing to get to the Amboseli National Park or the Community Conservancy. This electric fence put up by the Big Life Conservation keeps them from straying into farms when moving about. But if their paths are blocked, the elephants would have to find alternative routes through farms and homesteads, fanning the flames of conflict.
An electric fence around that farm in the middle of a dispersal, a wildlife corridor, is not sustainable because the issue of environment. How many other farms will come up? The bad precedent.
The farm's owners, however, say that this development poses no threat to wildlife and that it in fact generates much sought-after jobs in idle land. Harji Mavji and Suresh Kurji Kerai are identified as the farm's owners. Jeremiah Salash, a local from Kimana, joined the company in 2017 as a shareholder. He details the history of the farm's brief existence.
Before it was a community land, and then after the 2010 constitution, tukaona kwamba there's a need kila mtu awe na share yake. So everybody tume subdivide land equally na kila mtu akapewa share yake. Then kakuwa kuna willing seller and willing buyer.
When a group of landowners decided to join their pieces of land to form a conservancy, which would enable wildlife to move in and out of the Amboseli cradle through a corridor, not everyone signed up. The Kili Avo Fresh Limited wagered on farming, specializing mostly on a fruit that has gained popularity worldwide, the avocado. The farm also grows garlic, bananas, and keeps bees.
So ikatokea sasa wale ambao walikubali conservation, ambayo sio wote, especially hawa wazungu NGO like Paula Kahumba na Big Life wa Richard, ndio wakawa wanasema hii ni migratory corridor ya wanyama. How can you own a migratory corridor ya wanyama na una title? Na ilipokuwa subdivided, umekuwa subdivided kama agricultural land. Tumefuata all the process from the county government, national government, tumepata all the documents.
On the 6th of August 2020, the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, approved an environmental impact assessment report submitted by the owners of the farm and issued it with a license number 006-8059 for proposed integrated mixed-use development. The owners started work on the farm, but barely a month later, NEMA ordered them to stop all operations. In a letter dated 18th September 2020, the environmental agency said the decision was made following new information that had come up during consultations with various stakeholders. NEMA informed them that it wanted to revoke the environmental impact assessment on grounds that the proposed activity was taking place within a wildlife corridor and was thus a violation of the provisions of the Amboseli Ecosystem Management Plan, which had zoned the area for conservation and livestock grazing. Jeremiah offers us supporting documentation, which he says clearly shows that this land is under a freehold lease and is zoned for agriculture. A letter from the county government of Kajiado, dated 12th October, however clarifies that the agricultural zoning meant that it was only reserved for livestock production, wildlife management and tourism, and not farming.
Lazima mtu ufeel kwamba unazulumiwa kwa sababu una all the documents. Na hiyo argument ambayo mzungu analeta ni kwamba ametumia foreign media sana kupiga kelele. It's very painful. Tulikuwa tufungue training ya farmers all around here. Sehemu ambayo watakuwa wanaweza kufanya show ya kilimo, wapate this type of hybrid seedlings.
Inside the expansive farm, life is now slipping away from this once vibrant establishment. The machines are now broken down and coated in dust. The farm is now wearing the scars of the unfolding tussle for scarce resources and a bigger battle between preserving an increasingly constricted wilderness and feeding a bulging population. For Sheila Wilson, a mother of 3 and with a 4th child on the way, this battle is playing out right at her doorstep. Sheila was working at the Kili Avo farm by watering flowers and kales last year before all operations were stopped. It was her first job that brought her joy and a thicker wallet. The action against the farm now fuel for flames of exasperation building up inside.
Before hiyo shamba itoke hakuna kazi nilikuwa nafanya. Nilikuwa tu nakaa nyumbani, nashinda na watoto, naenda machungani narudi. Lakini vile ile shamba ilitokea ilinisaidia kwa sababu nimekuwa nikipata my own money. I can do my own job, naweza fanya kabiashara kangu, naweza kujinunulia nguo, sio lazima niongoje mzaa niletee.
The closures mean she will have to find other work to support her household.
Vile walikuja wakafunga imekuwa challenge kwa sababu ile vitu nimezoea kujifanyia, itabidi sasa nifikirie sana mahali nitapata pesa ama ile kidogo napata I have to budget, lazima nifinye hapa ndio nifanye hii.
According to a status report by the Kenya Wildlife Service, the Amboseli Ecosystem Management Plan identifies Kimana Wildlife Corridor as one of the 6 major corridors critical to the ecological function of the Amboseli National Park. In a map provided by KWS, they explain that the wild animals use this crossing point within the fenced area that funnels the wildlife to other conservancies. KWS says the Kili Avo farm, shown here in dark purple, sits within an area allocated for the Amboseli ecosystem. But for this fractured community, the battle is more than just about the space for giants. So we've just gotten to Sopa area a few minutes ago and we heard there's going to be a community meeting about the same issue. So we want to listen in on what they have to say. Here, members of the Amboseli Landowners Conservancies Association are meeting to deliberate on what the presence of the Kili Avo farm would mean for their income from conservation and livestock grazing.
These people are farming. It's middle of the conservancy, middle of our grazing area, a critical migration corridor. So it will affect our activity, our plan.
I think more to come. It will be more worse than it is now as time goes by.
Kwa hivyo hiyo tu ndio nilienda kumwambia Tobiko, tunaomba kama wamama hiyo karatasi ikasuliwe.
A few meters down the road from where Kiliavo Farm sits is another expansive piece of land where mature vegetation is flourishing.
To make the matter worse, that's not the only farm in this area ambayo imekuwa cultivated. Farmers all over. Hata hii ni shamba iko next na mimi. Mashamba ziko huku, waya iko hapa pia. So wakiniambia ni njia ya ndovu, I myself I can't understand.
Umeona there's another farm pale mbele Ngong Veg. Kuna hiyo ya nice, there's these others ambao unaziona. Kuna hii Kabuyu farm. So why only it's me? Kwa nini iwe ni mimi?
Some of these farms came in very early years before we even formulated the Amboseli ecosystem plan, where these corridors have been clearly mapped.
So why then did the National Environmental Management Authority give the farm a green light, then suddenly change its mind? We reached out to the Director General, Mamo B. Mamo, for a comment. He agreed to speak to us on Wednesday, the 28th of April, to clarify the issue. But he later cancelled due to what he termed as unavoidable circumstances. Another glaring question for NEMA is why one other significant authority, the Kenya Wildlife Service, was not roped in during the critical environmental impact assessment.
There was some communication breakdown between two government agencies, that is NEMA and the Kenya Wildlife Service. We were not initially consulted before the NEMA license was issued for the farm to continue its work.
The National Environmental Tribunal had planned to meet on the 26th of April to hear a case that Kiliavo Farm had lodged to contest the decision by NEMA to stop its operations.
Whatever the ruling it comes, tamwachia Mungu.
Now, uta contest
lazima kwa sababu sehemu unajua una haki yako, lazima uta contest.
The tribunal's chairman, Mohamed Balala, later dismissed the farm's case. He says Kiliavo had failed to provide reports and ready witnesses to help make its case, and despite calling for urgency on the matter, they were delaying the fair hearing of the case. A few days later, Kiliavo's troubles worsened. NEMA revoked the farm's license number 006-8059. The authority also directed the farm to submit a fresh environmental impact assessment study and not proceed with the project until a record of decision is issued by the authority.
Is it possible for us to record hii conversation tumeongea na yeye sahi alafu nitumie? Uko sawa na hiyo?
Yeah, of course. If anybody want to take this farm, let them come and kill me here. I will die like Muammar Gaddafi. Yeah, that's all. Let them come, cut my head, and bury me in this farm. This is all politics. Yeah, kwa sababu tulifuata all the due process. Mpaka NEMA atoe hiyo permit. Walifika ground, forester, wamefika ground.
This conflict in the shadow of the Mount Kilimanjaro perhaps now mirrors a wider countrywide clash over shrinking space between humans and wildlife. 30-year-old Daniel Kutata has been a ranger for 3 years now, a career choice driven by his passion for wildlife, having often closely interacted with the majestic creatures growing up. This fondness has grown into a deep protectiveness.
If farmers insert their farm inside the migratory routes of elephants, there's a major threat. They might cause decreased number of elephants. If we lose these magnificent animals like elephants, I just feel so sad. I feel so sad because these are animals I grow up seeing them every time. If the future comes and I miss them, I feel like I have missed one of my family members.
Hiyo shamba tu ingeendelea kwa sababu we are working more than 600 people there per day. So vile ilikuja especially wa mama. Na unajua huku Masaini wa mama sisi ndio watu tumefinyiliwa chini sana. As wanatuona kama we are the weak point, we can't work, but wakati hiyo farm ilikuja kutokea, wenye walikuwa wanaajiriwa hapo wengi ni wa mama, and we are doing our best. Ile kitu mimi natakia watoto wangu ni masomo. Yes, mimi nilisoma lakini sikufika mahali nilikuwa nataka. So I don't wish my kids to stuck where I am being the life I have been living, so then they can also live that life now.
We cannot avoid development. We need to balance development and conservation. And that is why there is need for consultation between different government agencies so that when development has to pass through a wildlife conservation area, then we should be able to provide ecological information.
And while there are two sides to this divide, they both share a common bond.
Kupenda mnyama, nimezaliwa kwa wanyama. Nimeishi nao, my grandfather, my father. So ndio maana hata tulipo subdivide hiyo group ranch, tumetenga eneo. Hatukuambiwa na Big Life wala any NGO. Sisi wenyewe kama local community tunajua umuhimu wa wanyama.
For Maasai, we've been living with these animals for time immemorial, for a very long time. And for Maasais, we don't poach, we don't kill wildlife. The passion is from, it's like inborn. We've been seeing all these animals since we were born.
In the days following Nama's revocation of the farm's license, Jeremiah said Kili Avo would appeal the decision, an indication that the battle for the corridor is far from over. Gena Kirori, NTV.